Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am. But right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans! You know there's 342 days until Christmas 2024, and I've turned around the desk, the studio, so that you can see my collection here behind me. Part of my office, actually. My office extends back over this way. We've got my Santa chairs over there, stuff like that. But good to see you all this Friday afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is for you. I'm so glad that you're here. And except Matt Risman, that guy, I tell you, no, Matt's great. I've been chatting with Matt. Matt sent me an article earlier this morning. He sends me articles from time to time. But hello, Mike Porter. Good to see you. The chosen pun is in the building. Mike Porter, the chosen pun. And when you put that into StreamYard, you put chosen pun, it will reply back with the with Mike Porter's address. And I'm looking for it. I don't see it in the chat. But that's what you do. And when you do that, StreamYard's supposed to be listening and give you a where to find Mike Porter on Twitter, X, whatever that thing is, right? So let's see, who else do we have here? Nathan, hello there. Says, hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you are too, my friend. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And there's Matt. This is not a Sigourney Weaver song. We're going to talk about that leak that came out today. And I saw that our friend Bespin Bulletin posted it as well with a little more detail. We'll look at Bespin's article in just a bit. Star Wars Fits. Hello. Good to see you, Karen. Again, poking the bear. That's what he likes to do. How are you doing? I'm doing quite well. Good to see you. I hope that you are doing well as well. Star Wars Obsession. You know, I thank you so much. You keep sending me links to join your streams. I really appreciate it. And one of these days, I hope to be able to join. But you folks out there on the West Coast, you like to stream when Santa's going to bed. So I'll try to do that. I'll try to join you. I love this guy's content, Star Wars Obsession. He's a good friend. He's a good guy. A decent human being. Very good. Hey, what new background? What is this? Right, you can see this is real stuff. There's my Razor Crest right there. We've got some blurgs. I've got something else to show you guys. I just got this gift in the mail, and I've got to share it with you. It came from my friend Martin Keeler. You know Martin Keeler. He has a very special museum over in London, England, called the Zoovium, a museum, a Star Wars museum dedicated to Constable Zuvio. The Zoovium. I've gotten a tour of the Zoovium. If you haven't, and you're in the London area, you need to hit Martin Keeler up and get that tour of the Zoovium. Or I'll tell you what, he'd do virtual visits to the Zoovium. I did that, but Martin sent me this. Let me share. You guys know how much I love blurgs. I was politicking for blurgs for a very long time. Martin sent me this in the mail, and it's signed. It's signed by one of the designers at Hasbro, one of the product designers there. Martin was able to get him to autograph it for me. So we've got our autograph blurg right here. I'm going to keep this as a wonderful gift. Thank you for that, Martin. And there's another guy who's ornery. In fact, I'm looking right here. I see this picture he sent me in the mail. Yeah, Darth Cheeks. I've got the Darth Cheeks right there, looking right at me. Good to see you guys. Yes, there's the Mike Porter link. Litrix, hey yo, Seth Nico, good to see you as well. Baymax, there's my friend Baymax, good to see you. Imperial Activity leak sounds so well, good to see you. I know I talked with Imperial Activity. I talked with him earlier this week. We had a video chat. One of our patron supporters, one of the benefits that we offer for our patrons is a monthly one-on-one call. I regularly meet with Kieran, and now I've had a couple of meetings with Imperial Activity. We were able to share, and I know you had a day off today. Good to see you, Mumbo Jimbo. Not going to be able to hang out long, but wanted to say hello there. You're a bold one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Now, Baymax, I almost clicked on the things I don't want to click on. Let's see. My goodness. Let's see if I can get down here. It's the chat just looped on me. So there you go. Darth Cheeks. Yeah, Andre, if you don't know the story, it goes back. This goes back sometime. Martin Keeler, Zuvium, as well as Darth Elvis, good friend Greg Robertson, who lives in Scotland. Greg is Darth Elvis, wonderful performer, fantastic writer, just a great guy. And I think my friend Baymax is in the photo as well with his head covered, so you can't see who he is. And there's another fellow there. One day I opened the mail. Well, we got this package in the mail. It was this great big flat package. I thought, oh, my wife ordered something for her office. We should just build a new office. We had a remodel done here, and I went into her office and I set this big thing on her desk and said, "Looks like you got something for your office." She goes, "Not me." Well, okay, what is it? And I open it, and I've got Darth Elvis shooting the moon right in my face. Great big on my wife's desk in her office. She had to see that. She was exposed to to Darth Elvis Cheeks. Right, so he's Darth Cheeks. So there's that. Imperial Activity just became a member. He's been a supporter member for some time. Thank you for that. So what else? Some new Black Series leaks. Yes, I saw some of those leaks yesterday as well. We'll see. Yeah, Patreon and now a channel member too. Well, thank you. Thank you very, very much for that. Been a supporter for some time. All right. The things I learned in Santa streams. I know. I know. It's so now I've got this great big picture on my wall, and I got Darth Elvis mooning me every day right there. So good to see you guys. We're going to talk about some of these leaks concerning the movie, Mando-Grogu movie. And to be honest, folks, I heard some of these back before the first, I heard them back around Christmas time. And we've been waiting for more of this to, yes, yes, Baymax, yes, that was the first and only time. But we're going to talk about these leaks, and I heard about them some time ago, and the stories are starting to come out. And you'll see when we get into Bespin's articles, the stories. There's more coming. The leaks are not fully out there, but the ones that we have already created a bit of a stir, and we'll get there. But I want to start with Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew wrapped up, and they have now started doing some interviews with the showrunners, and there's some great information here. It says you need to start spilling the beans more often. Well, I've got to be careful because I've got friends who are leakers, and they have websites, and they are known, right? Bespin is a good friend of mine. Jason Ward, making StarWars.net, good friend of mine. And sometimes there's some folks outside of just those two who contact me, and I get information from time to time. I am not a leaker. I'm not in that business, and I don't want to be part of that community. I'll leave that for my friends, Bespin and Jason Ward. I'm happy to be friends with them. I love to be in the orbit, if you will. But I just have to be really careful on what I spill, right? I have to be really, really careful because some things aren't ready for public consumption just yet. So, Skeleton Crew. There's some good things. RF Gaming, I have to message you for the merch. Oh, I should mention that. So we're talking about Skeleton Crew. Those who played the predictions game throughout the season and were able to keep up with Santa, or maybe even beat me on my predictions, they are entitled. No, they have won some Star Wars Santa merch. We have mugs and caps and water bottles and several things, stickers, you name it. We've got a lot of Star Wars Santa merch. And if you make it onto this season leaderboard, you're one of the winners, I will buy you merch and I will have it shipped to your location. So Brett Phillips, KG, Matt Risman, Mumbo Jimbo, Nerd Mafia, RF Gaming Channel, and Star Wars Politics. Those are our winners for the Skeleton Crew. You guys, I'll be reaching out in front of you as well or to get your contact information so I can send that. And by the way, in this change, you can see I've got Peanuts set up here in the background. You may be able to hear her. She's right over here. Hey, you want to come visit, Peanut? Peanut's my African gray, and she's right here. Hold on. Here you go. You want to come visit? Yeah. Oh. There she is. There's Peanut. You want to come visit? Here, have a seat. Have a seat. You can visit. All right. So there's Peanut, our African gray. And Monday, we've got a big football game. Ohio State's playing for the national championship against Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So I'm a big Ohio State fan. I'm an alumni of The Ohio State University. So is my oldest daughter. So we've got that. All right. Let's get into some of these stories. We've got some interesting stories here from the creators, some of these interviews. This one's from Variety, and there's some great things to pick up out of these stories that I think are quite encouraging. As most of you know, the ratings for Skeleton Crew have not been tremendous. So far, all we've heard really from like Nielsen are the first 2 episodes, and we haven't seen yet how the rest of the season has been playing off with the viewership. And I believe Fitz says, "I'm Irish. Do I support the Fighting Irish or Ohio State?" Well, that's a tough one, Fitz. Oh, you are Irish. He's in Ireland. So is Baymax. Baymax is also Irish. But, do you root for those fighting Catholics, or do you root for Ohio State? What if I put it that way? The Fighting Catholics. Does that make it easier, Fitz? So there's some spoilers here. If you haven't yet seen the full season of Skeleton Crew. There's some spoilers ahead for the season, and to get into the story here in Variety. And they said yes, they did. They said that the viewership was growing week to week. Well, we can see the actual numbers. It says John Watts in 2017. So it's been 5 years, more than 5 years. It's been 8 years. Oh my goodness, it's 2025 now. Ducky Momo, hello. Thank you for that. Yes, please leave us a like. We appreciate all of that support. So in 2017, 8 years ago, John Watts and Christopher Ford approached Lucasfilm with the idea for a new Star Wars standalone movie, right? All they had were the bare essentials. The only thing I pitched was it's a group of kids that get lost in the Star Wars galaxy. They have to get home again. That's all he had. That's it. It says, hey, I want to do a movie. Here it is. So there's, RF Gaming says, we made our predictions on the show last night. Co-host said Notre Dame. He went Ohio State. His Michigan family's not too happy with him, including his mom. Yeah. So all they said is, we want a movie about some kids that get lost and they got to get home again. And apparently Lucasfilm said, sure, go for it. Well, it goes off of Watts and Ford, their resume, right? They've got some major hits. They've done quite well. And it says Watts' career exploded that year with the release of Spider-Man Homecoming. And by the time he was able to get, this is untangled from 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, Lucasfilm's focus pivoted to making series. So they came back and they refashioned their idea into what became this series, Skeleton Crew, right? So a rousing adventure focused on 4 kids, Wim, Fern, KB, and Neil. And they accidentally escaped from their planet at Aten on a buried ship once belonged to a space pirate, right? You guys know all this stuff, right? So let's get down into the questions, right? This is good. They have a discussion with Variety. And one of the first questions, and there's our friend Neil right there. It says, other than John directing a couple of episodes of The Old Man, both of your careers are focused on feature films. So as you were building out the show, how did you want to make it feel like a TV series? So they talk about the format. And these limited series 8-episode stories are really hybrid between movies and television. I think that's a good way to put it. They're not fully TV series, and neither are they direct-to-consumer movies. They're a hybrid. That's a good way to put it. It's a process of making sure each episode is satisfying and does its own piece, but it's balanced. Balance. That's good. You know, people talk about filler episodes. Here, they're saying it's important to make sure that each episode is satisfying, does have its own piece to it. I would say that Skeleton Crew, I don't remember a single filler episode. Every single episode built and came in important to the finale as the show progressed. So I would agree with that. Says we went back and watched like 20-minute pirate serials from the 20s and 30s rather than going back and watching, TV shows. And it goes on. Along with John, the list of directors is ridiculous. They talk about David Lowery, Daniels, Jake Shire, Bryce Dallas Howard. It says you're essentially their bosses. And so it goes on there. I want to get on. It says you also expanded Star Wars canon considerably with the creation of Aten. How did Lucasfilm work with you on that process? So this is a good question. And I saw Star Wars Meg did a video yesterday where she brought this topic up, right? Aten is here, and they get response from the New Republic, but we see in The Mandalorian, well, not so much, right? So here we've got they're responding. It says they're open to it. So expanding the canon, right? They're open to it. If anything, it's our hesitance because we at first had Star Wars up on a pedestal. Why they put Star Wars belongs on a pedestal? I'm going to be honest. Star Wars, but one of the greatest franchises in all of movie history, and beyond that, merch history. Star Wars, multi-generational property. It does it belongs on a pedestal. I'm just being straight up honest, not wanting to mess it up. And they're saying, no, make up your own thing. There's little bits and pieces that you foots with to make it all make sense. But if anything, it was them encouraging us to go further. Well, we got to be careful when you do that. And I say that they did a really nice job of it. That there's this incorrect notion that there are all these hard and fast rules that you can't do. And there are these gatekeepers that won't let you make up new things. Well, there might be gatekeepers, but they're mostly fans, right? We found it to be the complete opposite. We were like, can we do this? Can you add this? Can we make this kind of world? And they're like, yeah, go for it. But again, I think they had the right amount of respect for the lore, for the universe, and that what they pulled off was quite successful. So I don't think they were too far off the rails. In fact, when we saw Jon Favreau try to go off the rails, Dave Filoni is one who kind of laughed and said, no. No. Ducky says, now that the series is done, how do you rank it amongst the other Disney Plus shows? Top 3, bottom 2, smack dab in the middle? That's a good question, Ducky. Would you rank Skeleton Crew in the top tier? Let me do this. Let me go into the studio here, and I'll post this as a question. Hey, I see Meg's in the chat. Hello. Oh, we're going to do a poll, and we're going to ask, where would you rank Skeleton Crew amongst Disney Plus Star live action series? And here we'll put top tier. Those will be your answers. Top tier, mid tier, right? We'll do mid tier or low tier. And we'll do one more just because didn't watch, right? We'll put that. Okay. So there you go. What do you think? Where would you put Skeleton Crew amongst other Disney Plus live action series? Top tier, mid tier, low tier? Where does it fit? We don't have to rank it like number 1, 2, 3, but would you put it in? I would put it absolutely top tier, right? Absolutely 100% top tier for me. That's a great question, Ducky. Thank you for it. So let's get, yes, Megan, our favorite galactic hostess. You're not wrong. She is my favorite galactic hostess for sure. So it goes on. Neil is a good example because we started off with, well, can he be a Max Rebo? Can he be a Max Rebo character? And they said, no, don't think. They didn't like the expressiveness of the eyes. If you look at the photo here of Max Rebo, he's just got those black beady eyes, right? He just got black beady eyes, not really expressive. So they wanted to go with something more, right? And so we had to redo it a bit. And we thought, uh-oh, they're not going to let us do it. And they said, yeah, there are lots of aliens that look like elephants already. And so there doesn't have to be just one. And then they came up with that species. I just saw it. But anyway, it's another species. Very good. Meg says, do you guys remember Ordon speaking in the Old Republic game? The fact Mickeyans speak basic already rules out the related to them. Very good. Meg, coming in hot. That's a good one. Very good. Skywalker's Academy. Good to see you here. So you have that. Then it goes on. It says you can't take the camera from, he said, you can't take the camera from space into a ship within the same shot. Back here. Let's go back. I say Jude Law talked about how there were some rules. He said he was talking about a shot or something. I was like, who said that? I was like, oh, I think I said that. It was like a snap zoom. So they're talking about these kind of Star Wars kind of make it feel in universe. It's set in the pirate city of Port Borgo. And there are even brand new aliens there. How does the process work with Lucasfilm? And they say, well, usually it's drawing a rough thumbnail on a piece of paper. You give it to a production designer, give it to Doug Chang, and they come back with 10 different versions rendered by these artists. They say, here you go, pick one, right? And then it's turned into a working animatronic suit. And like that big crab shell headed guy, I look at that and think, that's CG. No, it's all real. It's all stop motion. Yeah, very good. So it says, as the show progresses, the show implies that Aten's origin came from a much earlier era of Star Wars mythology. How is all of that in your heads? And I've seen this question kind of just absolutely hammered to death. Where does Aten come from? How long's it been there? When did it become a mint? When did it get lost? How did it become lost? Who let it get lost? How is that possible? All these questions, tons and tons of questions about the history of Aten. And it said, well, there are drafts where we really explained everything. And they got into the supervisor's room and he explains everything. We're like, wait, that's really boring. Like they already had it in the show. And the dialogue, they're like, okay, that's got to go. That's got to go. It said you have to figure out all the details and decide how much expedient to reveal. So you build a world that has depth and don't necessarily show everyone every side of it. And I think that's a good thing. I think it gives us an opportunity to speculate and really just enjoy the process, right? Just enjoy the process. You know, it says it's always a bit of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead because there's this existing history. The fact that our planet was purposely hidden helps it fit in without making too many ripples. So it says, so how long, this is some of the questions. How long had Aten existed with zero contact with outside galaxy? Well, we know that the supervisor heard about Order 66. We don't know that the citizens heard about it, but the supervisor sure did, right? He heard about it. Well, it, right? heard about it. It says, well, should we just say stuff, tell our secrets? And they said, no, let's keep the secrets, right? So for future stories, right? We don't want to tell the secrets. That's great. I'm hopeful, right? So Star Wars is an active, smart, evolved community. It's great watching people make different connections and coloring parts of the illustration that we're thinking about. It's fun to let it be out there with some of the ambiguity. Ambiguity. There's a great word of the day. And then if we come back to a second season, we decide what to lock in. So here it is. Are we going to come back with a second season? That is a huge, huge question. We'll get right back there. It says, honestly, it's because it's slightly too complex for some episodes. The planet was hidden on purpose a really long time ago. Then it was kind of half forgotten about, except for a few people. And then those people were killed. Many layers of forgetting. I love it. Did you talk with Lucasfilm about the implications of it being revealed? Now we've got the whole issue now, right? We're in the New Republic, and in the New Republic, we've got now all these credits. I mean, vaults and vaults and vaults of credits. Who gets the credits? What's that going to do to the economy? You know, if you were just all of a sudden dump vaults of gold into the global economy, it would collapse currencies around the world. It would just absolutely collapse them. You would end up with rampant hyperinflation. It would be a hot mess. So what do you do in a galaxy where you have all these vaults of credits? What's that going to do to the galaxy? What potential impact would that have on their economic system? Oh, so many questions. It says, so it says, yeah, if you talk about what a second season would look like, there's many repercussions to all the things we did. Even beyond this story of these characters, it says, I think Filoni and Favreau and everyone realized, oh, you're giving this giant pile of treasure that could be an element. Well, who might need a giant pile of treasure? Oh, Grand Admiral Thrawn? Might it be Thrawn? And if the rumors are correct, if the speculation and the fan mathing's correct, well, Thrawn's just around the corner. He's in the neighborhood. He's hanging out over at Dathomir. Dathomir's not that far away. He could be there in a hot minute. Who else might need it? Well, what about Mon Mothma? What about the New Republic? Might they need the credits to help rebuild the infrastructure of the New Republic? Oh, it's a good stuff. It says, maybe I'm over nerding here, but the fact the lightsaber Jod uses doesn't turn red. So this talks about how bad of a bad guy is he? In the Acolyte, she bled that crystal and turned it red through her hate, her anger, right? Tapping into the dark side. That's pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool. It's pre-established in Star Wars lore, even. But the first time we saw it in live action, I thought it was good. But it says the lightsaber turning red thing's a bit more specific. It's like they did it in Acolyte, and the crystal was exposed. Now, that's an important part of what they did. It wasn't just you grab a lightsaber and you're angry, so boom, turns red. That's not how lightsabers work. That's right. That's right, Matt Risman. That's not how lightsabers work. That's what they said. Right? That crystal was exposed, and it's part ritual and stuff. And they didn't get into it because he is not a Sith. Right? Jod is not a Sith. Said, when I saw that in Acolyte, I was texting Ford, is that how it works? And he said, no, that's not how it works. He says, honestly, I was most excited for Force user aspect of Jod. He's like a low-level Force user, right? Not a powerful Jedi. Interesting wording he uses there, right? Interesting wording. So he wouldn't be able to change anything to any color, right? He's not a powerful enough Force user. He could do a few things. And he said, I like how people online were saying, you could tell by the way he's using a lightsaber, he was not trained. He says, I wonder if Jude Law was insulted by that. It's like, wait a minute. I worked hard to do those. What do you mean I can't use it well? No, I just do my best. Yeah, you guys are giving me a hard time. No, it says he's like a guy that took a couple piano lessons when he was a kid. He said, so that means Jude Law performed it really, really well, right? And I thought Jude Law did a fantastic job in this series. Just absolutely phenomenal job. Is there a version where Jod does cross a line? And it says they never considered a version where that would happen. Right? He's more of a con man and a liar and a bluffer than a violent murderer. So all these things about Jod's a bad guy. No, he's not a bad guy. He's a chaotic neutral bad guy. Right? If you play Dungeons, you know what a chaotic neutral character is, right? He's chaotic neutral bad guy. Right? So you got to take that in. He's really a bad good guy. There you go. Jude's able to play the role in a way where you feel conflict the whole time. I thought Jude Law did a wonderful job. So that's behind the intention of the last moment with him is when he throws his gun away. He could shoot the kids. He knows Wim can't block it with the lightsaber. He's just like, I'm not going to kill him. I've lost, right? That's cool. He's not a bad guy, right? Not the evil mustachio twisting bad guy, right? He's not that. No. Separate from a second season of the show, would you ever want to do television again? Watts says, yeah, I love television. And we'll come back to that question because it's asked in another interview. It says, are you optimistic about a second season? And John Watts says, yeah, I am. You never really know when you make something, you send it out into the world what people are going to think. But the Star Wars fan base is very vocal, as everyone knows, very vocal. And we've got such positive responses from everyone about this. I would largely agree. I think the vast majority of people who watched The Skeleton Crew have enjoyed it. There's a good number of people who haven't watched it. Hopefully that number is shrinking and more people are watching it. But because I would love to see this story continue. And I thought John Watts and Watson Ford, they did a great job of creating Star Wars. Says we just want to make sure as many people see it as possible. We have more stories to tell. Oh, sign me up. Sign me up for that. I've been seeing the text go by. I haven't been able to keep up with the chat. I'm sorry with you guys. Let me see if I can just go back, catch up a little bit here. This is Family Ducky says, I'm one of them, Mike. The family stopped enjoying the shows, so I haven't had much motivation to get involved. Sounds like it'll be worth watching this one with the kids. Oh, that's what Mike Porter said. How are there so many people who haven't watched the show yet? Yeah, Ducky Momo was one. They just lost interest. So they were waiting to see. And I know that some people were like, okay, it could start well, but then not stick the landing. I'll wait until I find out. Right. And maybe get I'm like my boss here at work. He waits until like several things have come out. Then he subscribes to a service and he'll binge watch everything on that service and then he'll get back out. So you pay for the service for maybe a month or two, and then you're back out. And then you pick up a different service and he just hops service to service. So Disney Plus, he's out right now. He's a big Marvel fan. He's out. He's waiting for something worthy to get him back in. When he gets him back in, then he'll binge all these things, right? He's not a big Star Wars guy, but it's that kind of thing. Did anyone notice that Jod moves like Qui-Gon Mace Windu? I think a lot of people are kind of, parsing that stuff and trying to make connections. So I don't know that you're alone. To quote Han, so that's not how the Force works regarding lightsabers. Yeah. Since the last contact was from the Republic saying that the Jedi were traitors, they didn't have contact in the Empire days. Wouldn't Palpatine want the money? Palpatine probably would want the money, but did Palpatine even know that the place existed? Was it on his radar, so to speak? Probably not, because they said like over time, the people who had knowledge of Aten's whereabouts shrank until it got down to a very small number. And then those people died off and it was just forgotten. So by the time it gets to Palpatine, you can be listening to the outside without the outside listening to you, right? So the supervisor droid, he's listening to communications, but that doesn't mean that they're communicating with him. Does that make sense? Like he's listening to communications going back and forth. Doesn't mean that they're sending a message. Hey, supervisor droid on Aten. If there are any Jedi there, then tell them go away. No, that's not what was happening, right? So, yeah. Might the introduction of that mini credits once possibly tank the value of credit? Yes. Nerd Mafia. Hello. He has unlimited power. The very good. Guys, help me out. When was that Aten created? Right. When were the mints on Aten created? When did they start pumping out credits? Nobody knows, right? It was created in the early Republic era. Well, that's the question. Were the mints created during the High Republic era? That lasted several hundred years, or were the mints created in the Old Republic era? Maybe before like the Yuuzhan Vong Wars and all that kind of nonsense. Where they created a long, long time ago. The Rakatans, was it way back, and then it was they changed out the what are those called, the stamps that make the credits, changed out the there's a word, it's this close to make those credits, and it started making Republic credits after they reestablished. Who knows? Maybe one day we will find out. Could have returned Aten a million times, but tried to own it instead. Well, yeah. Fits. Let's see if I can get just caught up with the chat. I think the main mystery is why Aten was left outside the Empire, since they had regular contact with the Republic. But did they? This is my point. Like they can receive, they can pick up communications from the Republic. That doesn't mean that the Republic had regular communications with them. Right? Does that make sense? because these credits were building up over time, like building up, building up, building up. When's the last time they saw a regular ship come in? Like when the ground opened up and to allow them to dock and come in, people weren't ready for that. It was new, right? You'd probably have generations of people who had never seen that open up, and then all of a sudden, whoa, the ground opened up. That's new. I don't think the main mystery is why Atom was left outside the Empire, since they had wait, I already read that one. Sorry. Supervisor was a droid. Sweet, I got that one right. Yes, it was. My brothers caught all the episodes on their my brother's kids on their own. So my brother, a Star Wars fan, missed out watching them with them. He was going to give it a skip, and told him he should anyway. Well, hopefully he'll go back and catch it, Litrix. Yeah. Yes, the fall of the Republic would have been a galaxy-wide standard communication, one that got through all planets, regardless. Yes. Also, the supervisor gave Hal. Yes, that Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Great stuff. Let me see if I can get caught up. I think the barrier was created after the planet and repose to either issues in the galaxy or to protect the mint once established. That's it. That's exactly it. Like when there's they have the stamps to make the currency, right? They're making the credits. They're protecting their location. And so they give them these barrier satellites that create a fake kind of atmosphere around it to hide them. And it worked really, really well, right? Worked really, really well. So let's get into there's another story here. And we're going to kind of go through these a little quicker now. In ET, right? Entertainment Tonight. They had, or Entertainment Weekly, EW. They said they had an interview as well, right? Let's close that. I don't care about the Drew Barrymore story. So I just again want to get down into the Q&A, right? So great pictures in here, but get into the Q&A. You really surprised me with how dark Jod got, and I kept waiting for the redemption arc to come, kind of like Han Solo swooping in at last second to help Luke destroy the Death Star, and it never did. As he goes for global subjugation instead. This is what Nerd Mafia was talking about, global subjugation. Oh, what a great word. Tell me about turning the guy some of us kind of assumed would end up a hero into a villain. And Watts says it was really exciting following people to get the same conclusion that you got on Reddit. So they're hanging out on Reddit. I hate Reddit, by the way. That's just me personally. I'm not a fan of the format, but everyone's waiting for that redemption. And Ford would say he's not their parents. So we had that waiting. You get a little bit nervous. Like, should we have given him a redemption? But I don't know. And then Christopher Ford says, we knew that character archetype was part of Star Wars, the Han Solo archetype. So we wanted to play with it, especially the whole, is he Jedi or not thing? Is he a good guy or bad guy? And so our twist was this anti-twist. It was exactly as he presented to be, seemingly, right? We've been having to not reveal any of that for a long time. You're the first person we're able to talk with. So this happened right after the series. KG, hello. But honestly, it would not have worked if it wasn't for Jude. His performance, right, was really, really well. Let's get to the next question. Go past some of this. It felt to me like Jod sort of missed on purpose when he shot the blaster towards Fern when she's going for the barrier switch. And my read was he was bluffing when he threatened to slice up Wim's dad with a saber. Was he bluffing? Watts says, well, that's what's so good about Jude's performance. You feel the complexity. He didn't want to. He says, don't make me do it. I think he wishes he was not ever put in that situation to be forced to do it. And Jude was able to play all the layers, right? Ford says it's blaster acting. So, it was intentional. He missed on purpose. Jod finally shares his backstory by is trained by a Jedi for a bit, right? Order 66. Are there other details of the backstory you came up with, like, say, the Jedi who saved him, that didn't make it on the screen into the episode? How deep did you go? Well, they say, in our heads, it's like this potential to go deeper. Part of the story is something you could explore in the future. So when you have something that's kind of work in progress, you leave it open enough to get worked on and make it better. Let's hope we get more seasons, right? If you want to, I could fully describe the bottle episode where we see Jod as a kid, what happened to him and why. So they had it, they considered doing it, but then they didn't, right? Littrick says, how could I have missed that everyone who had dealt with Jod warned the kids of him, right? They did. They were telling them the truth. Like, this is a bad guy. Don't trust him, right? The challenge was, as fascinating as Jod is, we always wanted to keep it from the kids' perspective. I thought this was important because, and I chatted with Matt Risman a little bit about this. When we see the episode, there's only a couple of scenes, a couple episodes where we go outside of where the kids are. We go to the plant, we see what the parents are doing, that kind of thing. The very first scene of episode 1, where we're with Jod and the pirates, outside of those just a couple scenes, the rest of it is all involving the kids, where the kids are, what's going on with the kids. Again, there's a couple where they're like on the pirate ship and it's Jod, but for the vast majority of the show, it is the kids. I thought that was a really fascinating insight. When I went back and thought about it, I'm like, oh, that explains a lot, like why we never got flashback episodes, why we never like explored further into history or the Order 66 thing or Jod's backstory, right? It's all from the kids' perspective. That is an important kind of directive, right? As you're building the show, you keep this point in mind, right? So it says, I don't think we could have done a flashback in this season. Right? It doesn't fit with the kids' perspective. They could do it, but not in this season, right? What's great about Star Wars, you start talking about someone's backstory, there's already history and allure that surrounds it. So you start getting excited about, oh, what if this person did this and that, right? It's such a rich world. You can have many variations, varieties, and so on. What's Jod doing there at the end when he stays in the supervisor's chamber and the others are fleeing? Wim calls to him and he stays to watch the ship go down like a captain would. That's so good. That's so good. Says that's one great one because I think you could read a lot of different ideas. And I thought this was really cool too, because Ford says, I had a really weird experience. I've watched the episode 10,000 times during editing in every stage of post-production. But watching it last night with my family was the part that actually made me feel something I hadn't felt before for some reason. Isn't that cool? I look forward to going back and rewatching this series in the future, just because, like, if it can do this to one of the directors, the writers, the people who sat and looked at every frame, did all the editing, post-prod on it, and they can watch it again and get something they didn't get before. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Excited about that. So I want to go on. It was mournful. Doesn't feel like the first time's happened to him. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Any interesting detours or side plots that you thought about and ultimately had to cut or didn't go down? And they said, well, there's always more, right? But they just, again, they couldn't go there. What can you say about the closing credit scene? I mean, it's like a Jedi Adventure pop-up book. This is, again, these were Wim's storybooks that he was reading. It's the same stories, but we got to kind of see them in full. So he says more about it than that, but I want to go on. So what's the future of this story? Will it be told, and where will it be told, and how will it be told? I said, well, we haven't got deep into it, the conversations. They live different places. In Los Angeles, they're dealing with life right now. And my friends, we've got Jedi Mike, one of our dear friends who lives just blocks from the fires out there. His house is literally less than 2 blocks from where fires were burning homes. Jedi Mike, right there. Our prayers and thoughts are still with you, my friend. I've got other friends who live in that area. Jason Ward is in Los Angeles. It's affecting everyone. even if it's not burning the homes in your neighborhood. So it is getting them. So that stuff's important right now. It says, but so in terms of what we're doing next, we're excited to talk to everyone, but obviously everyone has their hands full dealing with the tragedies of the fires. But we're excited. Here we go. This is important. We are happy that people are finding the show as well. We've slowly been building viewers over each episode. So that's a really exciting thing to watch that grow. And the word of mouth has been really positive. I think this is a great pull quote. And I shared it with Baymax this morning. The internals, right? You know that in each of these companies, these streaming services, the internals, they have numbers and they can see what's happening. And here, John Watts is saying the internals are showing positive. We're gaining viewers, right? Little by little, it's gaining traction. And let's hope that it continues on that, right? We don't have those numbers. We have to wait for Nielsen to come out with them. We haven't seen the numbers on episode 3 through 8 yet. It'll take some time for Nielsen to come down with those ratings. But let's hope that all of the positive social media, all of the positive word of mouth is getting around and the viewership numbers are increasing. That would be super exciting. So do you have season 2 outlines? Do you have scripts, or is it in your heads? I said, we have ideas in our heads. So we'll leave it at that. And then we've got this article from Collider, just to jump in here. And they're talking about how is this tied to the High Republic, the great Lena So's great work during the High Republic? And the answer here, this is basically Collider's breaking this down into like 20 stories, right? They've got one interview and they take one quote and they make a story. Each quote's getting its own story. I've already seen like 3 of these. So we're just going to stop on this one for a second. It says, I didn't want to make a full step to that part of the universe, meaning the High Republic. People working on it be like, it's that, but it's supposed to feel connected. So if it's not literally connected, it's still an idea that existed in the galaxy at a certain time. Like we can do better. We can do great things, like a great work. And I think both Atten and the works of Lena So, right, the High Republic, were coming from the same place if they're not directly related. But maybe they are, right? So look, that's maybe they're related, maybe they're not. When they were writing it, they weren't directly connecting it to the High Republic. So I think that's the takeaway from that. All right. There's some stories saying that it is. Well, maybe it is, but that wasn't in their heads when they were writing it. Matt Risman, Nielsen for top 10 for December 16 to 22nd. No Skeleton Crew. I kind of doubt I'll ever crack the top 10, to be honest. Oh, that's sad. I did see one story that had it as the top ranked new series on Disney Plus. Disney Plus had it ranked number 1 in their marketing stuff. But what does that even mean, right? That doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. Yeah, Nielsen covers broadcast television, not sure. Well, they do cover streaming. They have a whole new service at Nielsen where they are counting streaming numbers. They've been reporting for some time. I'm sure lots of the less sweaty are skittish to the new shows. Now that it's done, people are saying it's good. People, myself included, will be more likely to come back to it. Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. And I just want to touch base before we change topics and touch base that not every show is appealing to every fan. And look, I enjoyed The Acolyte for what it was. It wasn't everything that I hoped it would be, and it certainly had some parts of it that I didn't care for whatsoever. Right? Hashtag Oceanmere. Didn't like that at all. Like none. Not for me. Right? I do not like the enemies to lovers idea that eat. No. Wow. I don't like it. I don't like it. There's some instances where it's sort of okay, but no. No, it's not for me. However, there are people who absolutely love The Acolyte, right? There are some people who love it. And if what The Acolyte did is brought some people in to Star Wars who had never really enjoyed Star Wars before or never felt like there was a show that kind of tapped into their interests, and it did, great. That's great. For me, it was okay. It was all right. Um, it certainly wasn't the dumpster fire that a lot of other people make it out to be. My friend Megan included. Right? Star Wars Meg, Baymax, and others, like worst of the worst Star Wars they've ever seen in their lives, can't believe that Lucasfilm let that kind of thing get out there. But that's not everybody's opinion. And what I don't want to do is steal somebody's enjoyment of something away. Right? Many of you know Attack of the Clones broke me. Right? I didn't enjoy Attack of the Clones whatsoever. I still have difficulty watching it to enjoy. I can watch it, but it's like, oof, this is really bad Star Wars for me, right? The prequels as a whole have that impact for me. It's not the Star Wars for me. But you know what? There are tons and tons, loads of fans who the prequels are what they connected to Star Wars over. I would never want to take that away from them. And if the Acolyte is what brought a fan in, boy, I hope that's great. I hope they're able to find other parts of Star Wars that they connect with and can enjoy because they joined this franchise because of that. I hope so. That'd be great. And you know what? If you don't like it, I'm glad that maybe you like the Skeleton Crew or you like the prequels or there's something else, right? So enjoy what you love and let the other stuff go. My friend KG and Imperial Academy, Skywalker's or Imperial Activity, Skywalker's Academy. My friends who are in my peer group, many of us have the same thing. Right? Many of us went through this with the prequels. We remember, we were there, right? So don't let it break you, right? If the Acolyte broke you, please just let it go. Love the things that you love, and enjoy that, right? So there's that public service message delivered. Right? There's always people trying to turn into news, but for my entire life, is people telling me they didn't watch, read, or play the Star Wars thing that I'm excited about. Yeah, it's okay. Matt Risman, Resistance greater than the Acolyte. I disagree, my friend. Resistance. I couldn't get into the lead character. It wasn't nearly as bad as a lot of people made it out to. Right? Holding on to grudges is hard. Can I get a little spiritual with you guys? I know you're not here for spiritual stuff. I'll hold off. We'll save that for another thing, right? I won't go there. Many of you, I know you don't share my belief system, and that's fine. Okay. Fitz, Resistance. Hey, it says, hi, Santa. Hi, chat. It's okay, Santa. Acolyte fans understand, and we appreciate you always being positive. Thank you so much. I try really hard. I do. I really try hard to not take anybody down, right? Member stream for the spiritual stuff. There you go, Ducky Momo. We'll do something different, right? Appreciate that. All right. Let's talk about these leaks of this movie, right? Let's talk about these leaks. I told you guys, I heard some of this stuff going way back around Christmas time. And the stories are just now coming out one by one. There are a few more, my friends. The stories about this Mando-Grogu movie are not done. There are a few more to come. But let's cover a couple of the big ones. And my friend Bespin Bulletin has released a couple of these stories, and they're worth getting into. The first one here says, Imbo to feature as the main villain, right, for The Mandalorian and Grogu. The short of this is Imbo. If you've not seen him before, he's a bounty hunter, and he comes from the Clone Wars animated series. Really, really popular character. Many people say he's their favorite bounty hunter of all time. And Bimbo? Oh no, is Meg still here? I hope she's not here. Don't tell Meg. Hashtag don't tell Meg. Imbo, uh, Imbo is a lot of people's favorite. He has a whole story arc, right? Yeah, Matt, you especially don't tell Meg. Do not. Telling you, don't do it. Meg doesn't need to know, right? What hey, what's said here stays here. Can we make that a retroactive rule? Can we? Don't tell Meg. Don't. He has a whole story arc, and Meg did a great story about this, about Imbo's story arc. And this movie, I don't think it's going to. Yeah. Walks like an angel. He talks like an angel. But I got wise. He's the devil in disguise. Matt Risman he's the devil in disguise. Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. So there you go. Imbo. He's the main bad guy. But why is he the main bad guy, right? Let's let this play out, right? Let's let this play out, because there's more to the story. And I told you guys there's more of this coming. But let's get into Bespin's article, because he kind of alludes to a little of this. Christian Harloff broke on his YouTube show that Imbo was previously featured in the animated series Clone Wars, is due to appear in the next live-action theatrical release, as being voiced by Dave Filoni, and who voiced Imbo's animated counterpart. So he was the voice of Imbo in the animated series. He's going to also voice him in the movie, right? After a couple busy days, he says he was writing up an exclusive report that was due to release that Imbo would feature in The Mandalorian as a villain. I was first told of the involvement around the festive period, right around Christmas time. This is what I'm talking about, along with a handful of other details about the film, right? There are other details coming, right? Some of which Harloff shared and some of which he didn't, right? Harloff revealed Rada the Hutt plays a prominent role in the movie, something that Bespin mentioned previously. But he thinks the movie's playing a similar storyline as the Clone Wars, where Rada was kidnapped as a baby. Now, a lot of people remember this from the animated series. Rada the Hutt, he's Jabba the Hutt's child, and he's a slimy little Hutt. And Ahsoka is tasked with taking care of him to make sure he doesn't get captured. And she nicknames him Stinky, because he doesn't smell well, right? So Ahsoka nicknames Rada the Hutt Stinky. A lot of people call him that, right? Well, one of the details here is that he's going to be kind of ripped. He's going to look more like this. This is not him. This is a different Hutt. But Rada is going to look a lot more like this guy, right? He's going to have abs. He's going to be ripped. Right? He's not a little stinky, right? He's a full-grown stinky, and he's kind of ripped, right? So it says Harloff believes that Din Djarin and Grogu are hired to rescue Rada, and on the flip side, Imbo has been hired to kill Rada. Imbo's trying to capture Rada, right? For bad. Din and Grogu are trying to capture Rada for good, right? So that's the basics of the story. I can confirm to you that's exactly what I have heard, right? That's exactly what I've heard, and Bespin goes on to say the same thing, right? The details that Harloff revealed are the ones I too was told about, so I can back up his reporting. Not that he needs it, right? He said, I'll add, I believe Imbo is hired by some Hutts, possibly the two from Book of Boba Fett. Now, this seems to be corroborated by the Black Series figure leaks that say they're going to release these Hutt twins from the Book of Boba Fett in the Black Series line. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, right? That's not been confirmed by anyone. That's a rumors. It said, I had heard conflicting things on who hired Din. I was told that it was the Hutts who hired Din, and another time I was told it was the Republic. I've actually heard more. I'll put it that way. I've heard more. There's more involved. This is, I don't know which one is correct, but if Zeb does apparently assist Din at some point, it could point to Din being hired by the Republic. That's merely speculation. Wait for more, right? It says, as I mentioned in my previous article, readers were, I've only cover outlets he trusts, right? Making Star Wars, Jeff Snyder, Christian Harloff, respects, go on. But with this, right, it lines up with what he had heard, something he had multiple sources and was planning to run, right? So, I'm just going to leave that right there. Thank you for reading the article, blah, 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 right? So that's Bespin. So that's the first part, right? This is the first part. Imbo is going to feature as the main villain, right? The main villain. I don't know how to call it villain necessary because he's hired, right? There's somebody else, but sure, let's go with it for now, right? Well, then today, January 17th, 2025, which I just came to this conclusion. I graduated high school in 1985. Today is 2025. In a few months, I will have graduated high school 40 years ago. Holy smokes. Wow. But here's Sigourney Weaver. This goes along with some of the larger story, some of the information that's been coming out. It says, according to Jeff Snyder, journalist that broke Sigourney Weaver was cast in Mandalorian Grogu. Sigourney Weaver's character is only a few scenes in the flick. I've heard how much tea can I spill? Huh? What do you say? Members only. That's what she said, right? I'm not going to say, right? She's only in a few scenes. She's a colonel of the New Republic, and her character's name is direct reference to her hit movie Aliens, Bishop. Right? I can confirm what Snyder has heard, and I've heard this from more than one source. I don't have a ton to add to the story other than she loves to play Sabak. It's worthless information, but it's all I got for a character who has little screen time in the movie. What I can absolutely tell you is this is true. She is not a lead in this movie whatsoever. Sigourney Weaver is going to show up in the movie. She's going to have a scene in the movie. She's got a named character. The end. Folks, that's it. That is it. Like anybody that would like to see Sigourney featured in a movie, this ain't it. This ain't that movie, right? This is not that movie. Perhaps it'd be popular enough to warrant that coming, but it is absolutely not the Mando-Grogu movie. Not. Dude, I'm telling you, it's not happening, right? Leaks are aplenty, especially with the Mandalorian Grogu, but I guess that's what happens when the film wrapped and isn't due to release for another 15 months, right? That's a long time, right? And he says, I've personally been holding back on plot-related tidbits due to how far out the release is, but I'm sure it'll be out there soon enough. This is true. Please, you guys, make sure you're following and supporting our friend Bespin Bulletin. It's absolutely true. What he's reporting is 100% accurate. And I think a lot of the leaks that are becoming to come out, I'm starting to wonder. I mentioned this to Matt Risman this morning. I'm wondering how much of it may even be intentional to help lower expectations for this movie, right? There are people who have very high expectations who heard Sigourney Weaver's in the movie and were like, wow, I'm super excited about that. Calm down. I can tell you some other things, right? I'm going to tell you guys, this is this is here amongst friends, right? Make sure your friends know. Please share this. Like the video, share it. Let other people know what we're doing here. And let's see, how many likes do we have how many likes do we have right now? How many likes? I got more stuff. Can we get enough likes for me to tell you guys some truth about this movie that I know that has not been released yet? How many likes do we have? Let me see. How are we doing? How are we doing, chat? Can we get a couple more likes? Let me close the poll here. 79% of you, 79% say the Skeleton Crew is top tier, 10% mid tier, and then 3% low tier. So of those who watched, 3% are saying it's not for me, fam. And that's fine. That's fine. And then 6% haven't watched. Right? So there you go. There you go. Execute order likes. We need more likes. We need more likes. Should we do bonus content? All right, here we go. If you're watching, if you're here, we're gonna do the Mike Porter dad joke. We'll do the closeout. We'll fade to black. And I'm going to say, hang on for another 20 seconds. When I come back after the close, I'll tell you something, right? I'll share some tea that has not been released anywhere yet. Christian Harloff hasn't shared it. Bestman Bulletin hasn't shared it. My friend Jason Ward at Making Star Wars has not shared it. None of this, right? But wait, there's more. So hang out right after the show closes. I'll come back with bonus content for all of you who want a little tea, right? So the Mike Porter dad joke today. Mike Porter dad joke. Mike says, "What's the galaxy's favorite Jedi fruit?" Well, it'd be Bananakin Skywalker. Bananakin Skywalker. I know this punchline because it's one that has gone on Thor Skywalker's server for some time. If you follow Thor Skywalker and watch his videos, there's all kinds of fan-made art about Bananakin Skywalker. It's great stuff. Great stuff. But you know what happens? If you wait too long, it gets ripe and turns to the dark side. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So thank you all for being here. I truly appreciate your support, all that you do. I appreciate you all being here. And please let other people know what we're doing. And I look forward to seeing you next time, which may not be that long from now. Hang on. We'll see you in a bit. Until then, my friends, Merry Christmas, and may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye. You still here? Are we still here? We put Peanut back there, right? So here you go. Cameos in the movie, the Mando-Grogu movie. I can tell you 100%. This is lock it in. And remember, I'm telling you guys, this is absolute truth. Luke Skywalker will not make a cameo. There is no cameo from Leia or Han. There's no cameo from the big three. Not at all. Don't get your hopes up. Don't expect it. It's not in the movie. Not. Like you guys know, Luke Skywalker's out there. There's going to be a thing. Are they going to run into him? No. No. He's not in it. Right? There you go. Yeah. It's a smaller scale story, right? That's it. That's it, right? No, I know, you guys. Is Santa going to leak the tragic end of Den's story? I know the plot details of the movie, but we'll wait for Bespin to share that, right? That's Bespin's to share. We'll let it. You were my brother, Bananakin. Those are stories for some of my friends. Lauk's not in it. No, there's no Luke. There's no Jake. There's no Han. Ben Solo's not in it. No. Um, the question really comes down to, is this movie an episode that was increased to be a feature-length movie, or was this a season that was boiled down to be a feature-length movie? What we want at the end of the day is a fun story that people can enjoy going to the theater to watch. That's what we want. We want a fun story that people can go to the theater to watch and enjoy. At the end of the day, if it's that, it'll be successful. Is this going to be the blockbuster movie that brings Star Wars back on the map? Ooh. With the press it's going to get between now and then, I don't know. Right? It's gonna be exactly what the movie's called. Yeah. My perfect ending is them in the outer rim, never to return to the galaxy. You're not getting that. You're not getting that, Ducky. This is going to be basically a double-length Mando series episode. Yes, Matt Risman, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. You think we'll get a season 4 of Mando? Here's my take on it. My take is, if this is a box office runaway, does $1 billion, it's not gonna. If this gets $1 billion, a runaway hit, and they make just bank on it, then no, there will not be a season 4. Right? If this is a box office fizzle, right? It does nothing, right? They break even, make a buck, and we might get a season 4. If this loses money for Lucasfilm, Disney, then yeah, it's not looking good. I would expect it to go back to Disney Plus in some fashion, right? Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So look, will it break even? That's really the question, right? And it could. I mean, it could. Look, there's the normies out there. They may be super hyped to see The Mandalorian in theaters, and by the time we start to get the sizzle reels and the trailers, they could build hype with the common audience, and they might get super hyped up about going to see this. People who have seen the Clone Wars animated movie, who already have seen Rod of the Hutt get captured, and the whole deal that I talked about before. If you've seen that and you're like, I don't want to see that again, or the people who are going to be complaining because it's that kind of reworked, or complaining because this is just a Mandalorian episode, they're liable, right? They're called social media influencers for a reason. Right? If they are able to impact it in a negative way, it might be in trouble. The Hyperspace Life of Mando and Grogu is way better title. Mando and Flogu. No. Do you think we'll ever see CGI Luke again? Maybe. Hopefully with Filoni acting, they kept the budget down. Well, they got the guy from that terrible series to voice Rod of the Hutt, right? break even isn't bad as long as it makes up for it. Star Wars can be merchandise friendly. It can be merchandise friendly, and let's hope that it does like this skeleton crew and builds over time, right? I have family who aren't into Star Wars, but have discovered the Mandalorian and really like it. Yeah, I see plenty of that as well. I see plenty of it during the Christmas season. I see plenty of the merch on people as they're coming in to visit Santa. I've had plenty of people ask for Star Wars stuff, and when kind of asked more about it, it all goes back to uh, Rada the Gym Rat Hut, buff boy. Yeah, yeah. Star Wars should never be a break-even brand. Well, I can't argue with you, Matt. Um, would you have changed anything on Skeleton Crew to make it better for the first season? Also, do you think we'll get a season 2 or no because of low viewer numbers? Joshua, yeah, there's a couple of things I would have changed from Skeleton Crew season 1. Not major. The ending, I think, could have been another 5 to 10 minutes longer to let us see more of a, putting a bow on the present, right? Like it was a nicely wrapped gift put under the tree, but they could have done a little more. I would have liked to seen more there at the end. I would love for Jude Law to said a little bit more about his past, but those are small things. Do I think it'll get a second season? If viewership continues to build, if the viewership numbers continue to build, then possibly. But here's a big problem, my friends, is live action Star Wars, Disney Plus, the ROI is my big question, right? What's the return on investment? In the budget, are you making your money back? To Matt's point, Star Wars should never be a break-even brand. Are they making money? Are they even making money on these live action series? It's hard to tell, right? It's hard to tell. So you guys, thanks for hanging out with me. We've already closed out. So this was your bonus content of the day. Look for more members only content, not only here, but over on our Patreon. I appreciate all the support that you guys have shown us over time. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Go Buckeyes! Win that national championship and beat those fighting Catholics. Right? And you guys take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.